Welcome. Ed Martin here in the Pro America Report. Go to proamericareport.com, get signed up for the daily email there, proamericareport.com, and to track all the stuff we're doing. Great to be with you. And listen, I've kind of split things up today. You're going to be very, very interested, I think. Let me tell one quick story. I'll tell you when to split things up. I'm going to split things up into what you need to know. The wink, daily wink, what you need to know. I dropped the T and there's no T. Wink, what you need to know. Go to proamericareport.com and you can be sure to get that update every day, the daily wink. Okay, but I'm also going to give you what you need to do. Because people are saying, I already know that. I got it figured out. I mean, you don't know everything I tell you because I tell you stuff you don't know, but you need to then, what do you need to do? So I'm going to tell you what to do. So that's the window, wink and window. All right. But before we get to that, I had a conversation earlier today, which I love saying out loud because it's very cool, with General Flynn, who's doing great, and he's got lots going on, of course, and he's waiting on the courts to rule. But we had a conversation about the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you go over to my Periscope at Eagle Ed Martin, you'll see every Periscope I do, I begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I believe very strongly in the Pledge of Allegiance. I think it's coming back. I think it's important, and I think you should too. But it was wonderful. I've been asking people, what's your first memory of the Pledge of Allegiance? It's kind of a good test for folks, right? And if you get people that are like, I don't remember. I mean, some people just don't remember, but some people didn't have that in their life that much. Well, General Flynn, who is, I think, 61, maybe he's 61 years old. He's not older than that. I guess he could be 62, but he's not older than that. I know that. He's either 60 or 61, I think. But anyway, he said, first memory, right? It's not just, do you remember saying it as a kid? I remember saying it as a kid. Probably like 6th grade, 7th grade in there. But he says he remembers kindergarten. Every day at kindergarten, when he went to kindergarten, he would say it. Now, I can't remember kindergarten. I was trying to think of kindergarten. I think kindergarten in my town was at the local church. We didn't have it at school yet. We were pretty rural where I grew up, so I don't think we had it. But anyway, he remembered every single day in kindergarten the Pledge of Allegiance. So I don't know what you remember, but that was his recollection, and that's pretty cool. It was fun. So think about that if you get a chance. I'm a big fan of the Pledge of Allegiance. Those 31 words, if we had more of those 31 words, man, it would be great. In fact, I'm going to tell you about some other words a little bit later, and some other keywords we use. But let's get to what you need to know and what you need to do today. Okay, earlier today, there was a decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. The decision had to do with the DACA creation of the DACA program, which is a program so-called dreamers, people who were brought here illegally by their parents because they were minors, but they're illegally in America. But they've been here for years and years and years, and they go to school, and they get working or whatever, and they're the so-called dreamers in DACA, and there is a program, a government program, amnesty, that Barack Obama started with a stroke of the pen. He first asked Congress to fix the problem and protect the dreamers. He wanted them protected. Others said, they shouldn't be citizens. And he said, I want you to fix it, Congress. And when Congress didn't do it, he said to Congress, I know you have to fix it because I don't have the authority to do it myself. Will you please do this? They ignored him. And after he got sick of waiting for them to do it, he did it by an executive order. I've always argued it was illegal, unconstitutional. He shouldn't have done it. But to be that as it may, he got away with it until Donald Trump won the election. When Donald Trump ran in the election, he said, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to not do that. That's not fair. It's not legal. It's not done. And so he got in office and he got rid of it. And there was a lawsuit. And here's what you need to know, which is so important, because you have to track trends. Today, DACA was, the Supreme Court said, with a majority of 5-4, Chief Justice Roberts joined the 4 Democrat-appointed members. So therefore, it's a liberal bloc plus Roberts, who might as well be part of the liberal majority now. And he said, you didn't revoke the executive order that was unilaterally invoked by Barack Obama. You, Trump, didn't do it. You didn't revoke it procedurally correctly. So Obama created it out of whole cloth, and there's been no objection that he did that. And yet when you want to get rid of it, you have to abide by what? Some sort of procedures, special procedure safeguards. These procedural safeguards are part of what I would call the growing bureaucratic class, the swamp that is in charge of so many aspects of life. But here's what you need to know. So important. This is not something that happened in a vacuum. In fact, a year ago, the President of the United States lost again in court. He lost again in the Supreme Court, and he lost again because of Chief Justice Roberts a year ago. In that case, the President of the United States said, I would like to have the citizenship question on the census. And it's been on the census for 60 years. In the last 10 or 20 or 30 years, it hasn't been on every question, but it's still been on the long form. But I want to have, on every census not application, but census that was taken, census document. And President Trump, through his Commerce Department, said, I want to put it on every question. I want to put a citizenship question on every version of the census, whether the long form or the short form. And there was a lawsuit, and they went to court, and Chief Justice Roberts, 5-4 again, he made the decision that, no, you didn't. It's completely legal to ask about citizenship. We're not telling you can't. We're saying you didn't do it right. So do you understand what's going on here? We have 5-4 majority of the unelected, unaccountable Supreme Court deciding policy preferences over executive actions that don't have to do with anything centrally violating laws. It's not like these are violations of any law of the Constitution. So if you're the President of the United States, you should be disgusted, and I think he is. And if you're Congress, you should be disgusted. Both the executive branch and the legislative branch should be looking up and saying, this is outrageous. Who are these people? If there's a violation of the Constitution or something that the courts can accurately say, hey, you're not allowed to do that, that's fine. But what is this procedural, you didn't ask in the right way? And I'm reminded of something someone said to me about the current state of America, especially when it comes to someone like Judge General Flynn or Roger Stone. There's something said like this, that the process is part of the punishment. In this case, the process is part of what's destroying America. That Chief Justice Roberts and 4 other members of the court can go ahead and say, well, we're not going to let the executive do what he did before, start the program, in reverse, rescind the program. You're allowed to start it, but you can't stop it if we say so. And it's a policy preference. Same thing with the census question. There's no one that's saying that there's not a legal authority to either rescind the DACA program that Obama started out of whole cloth or to add the citizen question to the census, except for the Supreme Court that's being used to effectively legislate the policy preferences. It's insane. It's outrageous. It's wrong. And people should be up in arms. And that's what you need to know. But here's what you need to do. Okay, this is a little chipped. Here's what you need to do. What you need to do is know that there are 2 groups, really one person plus another group, that have a stake in this. We have a president that's clearly trying to take on the judiciary, take on the Congress, take on the balance of powers, clearly doing that. And when he gets hemmed in by the courts, he says, I guess I'm hemmed in by the courts. Part of me says he should ignore the courts on this DACA thing and just rescind it anyway. And let them run into court and say, oh, as to the legality, you did it wrong, which is what happened. But he won't do that. He's playing within the system, and he's probably right to do it. But you know what you need to do? You need to demand that your legislators, the people that are in the House and the Senate in the U.S. Congress, understand that this is unacceptable. And whether they're in office and you educate them, or they're running for office and you educate them, or they get into the next Congress, because nothing will happen in this Congress, and you say to them, you must be held accountable to do the right thing. You have to. What you need to do is understand that it's the U.S. Congress now that has the ability. And more than ever, the next Congress in January of 2021 is going to have to take on all these issues. And you better realize that you need a Congress that respects the Constitution, but doesn't respect the black-robed oligarchs in the Supreme Court past the level that they're supposed to be. They're worthy of respect. It's a big deal. It's an important job. But they're not worthy of deference as to the Constitution and lawmaking. It's insane. It's insane. And I have to tell you that what I think is going to happen over time is that the people are going to demand, I hope you're doing it, from the legislators, more of what I'm talking about in terms of accountability. So that's what you got to know. That's what you need to know, what you need to know, and what you need to do. That's right there. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a lot of great guests. But be sure, go to proamericareport.com. You can sign up for the Daily Wink there, and you can also make sure that you are tuned in on all these great interviews. You can search for them all there and track them down. We'll take a quick break and be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Be back in a moment.